Well, bowling fans, we're back. Castle Lane's the site once again for another great event, the 2016 Castle Lane's Challenge. I'm Phil Brylow, with me again from Bowlers Pro Shop in Milwaukee, Joe Serrar. And Joe, these young players today, we're calling it the Challenge for a reason. They're bowling against this 2016 USBC Open singles and doubles pattern. And as we saw coming out of Reno, there's not a lot of high scores.
Well, exactly. And we're bowling in a high-scoring house. The venue is known for high scores, but it's all about the pattern that's put out in that particular house, and Castle will not play like it does for the league bowlers.
Yeah. Tough going out there for the young players. 4 great young bowlers going to be appearing on the show today. Join Joe Serrar and I back from Castle Lanes after this short break.
All right, Milwaukee Bowlers, we're looking to grow one of the best premier scratch leagues in the area, and we want you to come join us. So here at AMF Bolero, we're going to be expanding this league. We're going to be adding a bunch of money. If you have not heard about the Bolero Masters, it's Wednesday nights, starts in the fall, first Wednesday of September after Labor Day. We're going to add about $1,500 to the prize fund, plus we're going to take a discount on liners to make sure that that prize fund is something that you guys want to bowl for. So you need to get your teams now, call us here at Bolero, and let us know if you're going to join us here this fall.
Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com. Opening match here at the Castle Lanes Challenge here in Racine. I want to thank Phil and Patty Yanko once again for all their support year-round for televised events here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Another great youth event here, and Joey, a very tough pattern for these players with the USBC singles and doubles pattern from this year in Reno, and this is one of only 2 players that averaged over 200 for the day with Mitch Ortlieb.
Right, and as many bowlers who have bowled that tournament will attest, the doubles and singles pattern played tougher than the team.
You can see already on that 40-foot pattern how deep Mitch Ortlieb is in order to get that ball to hold properly.
Right, but not really curving it a great deal.
Key is, can you go straighter from point A to point B and still get a good angle into the pocket to knock all 10 down. And this is our first look ever on TV at Ben Wood out of Oak Creek, proudly wearing his Oak Creek High School Bowling Knights t-shirt, jersey. A little power in that game.
Yeah, he definitely hits up on it at release. He'll take that crossover as an opening shot on TV.
No doubt about it. Maybe that'll help loosen the swing a little bit. You can see how hard he came up through the shot, pulled it a little bit to the left, but pulled it just enough. And it only takes about a 3-board error, especially with the way the angles change through the front part of the lane with that pull, to get over to the crossover side of the pocket here on this USBC singles and doubles pattern. And you can see right there, that's well left and no chance.
Right, and when you say a 3-board error, are you talking at the arrows or down lane, say at the break point?
That's at the arrows, because anything at the arrows, I had a chance to talk with Jason Couch when I covered the Teen Masters on Extra Frame recently, and Jason had a good talk about when you change your angles in the front part of the lane, how much it's magnified on the back 15 feet of the lane. 3 boards up front, maybe 9 or 10 boards by the time he gets to the back of the lane.
Right, now that could have been Ben's first time ever missing the 1, 3, 6, 9, because he hasn't left it too often.
So Mitch Ortlieb with a big early lead, 18 pins, can extend it out here if he can get a double. Mitch converted senior year of high school to a 2-handed player. Now he bowls at UW Whitewater, and we see more and more of these 2-handed players out on the lanes today, and just can't quite rattle the 10 out.
Yeah, and again, on such a light hit, 2-handed player may leave 9, whereas a thumb player, that may be a dinner bucket hitting that light in the head pin. And, you know, it's more and more common, Phil, with players converting from one-handed to 2. I've had a customer recently, Steve Falk, 225 with using a thumb, and he's converting to 2-handed.
Now, lots of young players we see that have the body type. You have to have the body type to do it as well. We see some 2-handers that kind of end up with styles where they have to pull the ball up into their chest, that type of thing. You still need a resemblance of a backswing in order to be successful with the 2-handed game, at least with all the bowlers that I've seen. And when I was at Teen Masters, I saw Matthew Stevens again. He's out of New Jersey. He was their high school player of the year this year. He's a two-handed player. His right hand's under the ball, but he throws a backup-style ball off the left side. And he averaged 251 in his high school competitions on house patterns this last year in New Jersey. He had another solid finish at the Team Masters again this year.
Right, so obviously thumbless, two-handed, but reverse hook.
Exactly.
So it's not how you do it, it's if you do it. And he definitely did it at a 251 average clip.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you have to make your spares as well. If you're averaging 251, you're not doing it with 11 strikes and an open or 10 strikes and 2 opens a game average. You got to be making your spares in there as well.
Right, and that's why a lot of players who are exposed to, say, a sport pattern, which this would be here, they're exposed to so many more spare attempts per game as opposed to a typical 3 or 4. They're exposed to 7 or 8 spare attempts during a game.
And Ben now, with the case of the lefts, all 3 shots so far, you can see a little dejected, but it's easier first time under the lights to let the nerves get to you. And a lot of time when we see nerves with the kids, they hold the push away a little bit too long and they kind of accelerate getting to the line.
Right. Well,
and forces everything left on them.
Right, and when you're on a pattern that does not allow you a lot of missed room right, as Ben just saw in that spare attempt, and you know it's not going to come back, there is a tendency to be a little short with it or kind of alligator arm it somewhat.
So Ben right here, he's going to have to empty out the memory banks pretty quick, get something fresh in there, get positive. Still win this match, 7 frames to go, just because he has 2 opens in a row on the board. Much better shot out of his hand.
And there's a familiar strike, tripping that 4-pin. And like you said, you got to be, you have to have a short memory, but a good memory, because you do have to remember how the lanes are playing and what your tendencies are. And I think he's finally loosened up that arm swing.
And we see these bowlers, both players using equipment that doesn't really snap on the back end. On these flatter sport type patterns, you see a lot of players nowadays using balls that just kind of ease off the pattern like we see from Mitch there. And why would a bowler want to use that instead of a ball that kind of they like to see in league where it goes really long and angular, Joe?
Right, the magic word, control. Much easier to see the ball breaking more gradually and smoothly than it is to have it snap more angularly, which could be somewhat unpredictable and more sensitive to speed variation.
Mitch Bartley looking for a strike here in the high 5 gear 5th frame to win a $25 high 5 gear gift certificate, but can't roll out the railroad, the 2 and the 8. And this is tough enough on a house type pattern. You get it on a flat pattern like this, Joey, and so many ways you can miss the 2-8.
Right, Mitch threw a good shot there. I think he may have just been a little firm with ball speed, which would create more length through the front. And, well, on that spare attempt, a little overhook. So that helps Ben's cause somewhat, but still a substantial lead for Mitch.
Yeah, still a 16-pin lead right now for Mitch Artley. Ben Wood, however, looking to strike in the 5th frame here and take himself home a $25 high 5 gear gift certificate. These jerseys so popular with players nowadays, and
yeah,
he was on target, but way too fast.
Right, that would have been a big double there. Got him right back in the match, bring it to single digits. But that one got a little bit wide.
And with the amount of oil that's in the front part of this lane, if you get fast with it, the oil accentuates how far the ball goes down lane before it slows down with friction. We saw a prime example of that right there for Ben. And if he would have had that ball speed on his first shot, it would have been 10 in the pit for him, no doubt about it. So Ben Wood down by 16 pins.
16 pins. Take a deep breath here, Ben, and make a good shot. This is his good lane. He tripped that 4-pin last time up on this lane.
I want to thank his coach Don Rask for getting him in the tournament today, seeing more and more of these high school players coming out for these youth challenge and road to gold events, and a great break there for Ben Wood getting into the commercial break for this game. Joe Sarai will be back from Castle Lanes and Racine after the short break. Barbier's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee. Back at Castellan's, had the bowlers bowl through the commercial break to save a little time on the telecast. Mitch Ortlieb stepping up in his 6th frame. He was working on an open frame. Good shot out of the hand. Just ends up being a little light. Can't wiggle the 7 out, Joey.
No, he wiggled it, but not wiggled down, and no problem on the spare conversion as he slow hooks it with the scenic route.
Steps up on lane 3 here at Castellan's in the 7th frame. The big break on the crossover strike. Benwood looking for a double to stay in this match. Once again, a little quick on that speed on lane 4. Sails the head pin.
Yeah, that right lane has been his bugaboo today. Makes the conversion.
His spare shots, keeps that speed down. He's real successful with those. Steps up in the 8th frame though. Bad break, however. Doesn't trip the 4 or 9 on a slightly high shot. And only gets 1 on the spare, and now a big deficit for Ben Wood with Mitch Ortlieb stepping up in his half of the 8th frame.
And this game goes by quickly for the players. If anyone's ever been involved in a head-to-head match game on TV, time flies. Before you know it, it's frame 9 and 10.
Yeah, Ben sitting back there probably feels like he's only had a chance to breathe about 4 times this entire game with as quick as it's going. And Mitch Ortlieb now with a chance to shut out the match if he can strike here in the 8th and 9th. Lucky to not leave the washout on that shot. And once again, the speed through the front part of the lane, crucial to stay in the pocket.
Right, and after a crossover on the left lane, he may have wanted to stay firm, keep the ball on line, but it just shows the difficulty of this pattern.
Yeah, if we were bowling on a house pattern right now, if he missed to the right, and it would slow down a little bit, it would get friction, come back to the pocket. The friction will let the ball get back. If he was inside a little bit more, the ball would skate towards the pocket, but with this flat pattern, you don't get the benefits of friction until basically the end of the pattern.
And even then, it's minimal.
Good cover there.
Barely makes that. It's very, you see that ball almost chopped the 2 off the 4. Strange things can happen in this sport with round balls hitting round objects.
Yes, indeed.
And the pins are round, even though they're cylindrical in shape. And that looked great off his hand, but crept high. But there's been a almost full game of use on here from 2 power players. They're going to dissipate some of that oil.
Yeah, and Ben using a piece of equipment slightly more aggressive, a little less shine on the cover stock than what Mitch Ortlieb's been using.
This pattern could go from tough to tougher.
Exactly, and there's 2 bowlers waiting in the wings with Nick Hagen and Savannah Giroux in our next match, and that is just a bad mental error there by Mitch Ortlieb. And now, still a chance for Ben Wood, but it's going to require striking out in the 9th and 10th to lock up victory.
Well, a young 4-bagger gives him 177, and you're right, that does give him a mathematical chance, but if he doesn't get this first one, it's pretty much time to pack it in and learn from this experience. And you see Ben has a good physical game, and that's the 3rd time he's done that on lane 4. He wants to run it out. You can see the animation in his game.
He knows he's hitting his target, but he's just throwing it that little bit so hard, being amped up. The ball just stays to the right, no chance of coming back. And now, right now, the spare here, we're looking at 167 as a maximum for Ben Wood, so he's going to need all 3 in the 10th to force Mitch Ortlieb to mark. But Mitch, you never know in the back of your mind when you've got that single pin miss the frame before, how it can affect you stepping up when you need to mark to win.
And we know Ben can bowl. I mean, he's had a 297 games, high series 737. He's been bowling since age 7, so he's a 10-year veteran. His dad, Mike, great bowler in his own right, coaches his son quite a bit. And bad break there and a washout. And he may go in the books here under 150, but he'll learn by this experience.
Yeah, and more of these players are getting out when they know there's tournaments with tougher conditions. They're seeing when they go to tournaments like Teen Masters and Junior Gold. They know they need to experience them more at home, so we get more and more bowlers coming out for these Youth Challenge Series and Road to Gold events just to be able to get the experience. And we give them an opportunity to do it for not a lot of money. I mean, the entry fee, thanks to the sponsorship here from Phil and Patty Yanko today at Castellane's, was only $15 a bowler for all their qualifying and everything. And the winner on the TV show is going to take home a $100 Visa gift card and an entry into our Road to Gold Series finale tournament coming up at Sunset Bowl later this summer.
And that was a wide, see the runner going pitch out right there.
And you can.
But he softened his speed, as you noticed, but just sent it wide.
Yeah, angle's not quite right on that. We'll see what Mitch can do here. Match well in hand. Not a bad time to experiment. Now he takes another piece of equipment in his hand here just to see what kind of reaction he's going to get. And not a bad time to do it.
And that faced up nicely. But, you know, the toughness of these patterns is not, the intent is not to embarrass the bowlers,
No.
but rather to identify them from bowling on a more challenging pattern. And I think most of the kids realize that.
Absolutely. If they go to college, just like Mitch has here, that's all they'll see in college is these tougher patterns. And Mitch Ortlieb advances to the championship match. We will see who his opponent will be when we come back with our second semifinal with Nick Hagen and Savannah Giroux from Castle Lanes and Racine after this short break. Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com. First finalist for today in the books with Mitch Ortlieb defeating Ben Wood at 174 to 142. Now Savannah Giroux stepping up, taking on Nick Hagen in another semifinal here at the Castle Lanes Challenge. We've seen plenty of Savannah on TV over the last couple of years, Joey.
Yes, and we see Savannah playing a little further right, trying to go more down and in, sporting the knee bandage, and what is that called? Kinesiology tape?
Many different brands out there. I know Genesis is a big brand that sponsors out on the PBA Tour. Turbo also has their own version of tape now called Rock Tape. The various kinesiology tapes. I mean, you can pick them up at a Walgreens or any type of drugstore or any place that sells healthcare. It's supposed to lift up the first couple layers of skin and help your blood flow and help things increase.
Right, and there is validity to it because many athletes from other sports wear that tape in different areas. Gymnastic players, to name a few, basketball players.
Yeah, it helps with getting blood flow to the region, helps with muscles healing quicker. First look today at Nick Hagen. Nick, one of the best players to get from point A to point B in the state of Wisconsin in my eyes. Unfortunately, point B is a little farther down lane on that shot for Nick than he wanted.
Yeah, it stayed on point A all the way, and unusual for Nick.
Yeah, Nick, great high school career, part of the great Sussex Hamilton team. Mitch Ortlieb was his teammate at Sussex Hamilton during the high school years. Now they're teammates at UW Whitewater, part of that great program out there. Sean Walkner has been running the last few years as their head coach.
All over that 1-2-8. Stays with the same ball, but when you're not curving it a great deal on some of these spare attempts, you can stay with the strike ball.
Nick, one of the best spare shooters in the youth game in Wisconsin that I know. When he was in high school, last couple of years in high school, he led District 1 in fill percentage, basically because of how many spares he was making. Always knows he can strike. Always a matter of picking up the spares and not leaving those single pins behind like we see with a lot of youth players.
And that was far left off the hand. Another runaway shot, leaving the 1-3-6.
And not happy with himself at this point in time with two errant shots. I don't know if you can necessarily correct that ball on lane 3 as an overcorrection to lane 4, Joey.
Well, is it part lane or part bowlers? Because we've seen that same leave on that left lane a few times.
Yeah. As we know from all the centers we cover here on our bowling shows on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel, very rarely is a pair same from lane to lane.
Exactly, right. Yeah, there's always going to be subtle differences, either due to topography, airflow, can dissipate oil in certain areas.
So I want to thank our friends once again, the Peckus Family Action Heating and Cooling, for all their sponsorship throughout the year. If you have anything going on with your air conditioning right now, with the middle of summer happening, give the Peckus Family a call, 414-291-5800. 5,400, and Savannah cool as a cucumber throwing that strike.
That was a great shot. Put a little early pressure on Mr. Haugen. And you notice her last step is more of a long striding plant, which you don't see as often as, say, a longer slide position.
Yeah, especially with the young ladies. Most of the ladies do have a pretty pronounced slide to the line. Savannah, the solid plant and the solid strike for an early double on the board.
Yeah, they're sending a little message, Nick. I'm here to play. This will not be a cakewalk.
Nope. And so far this year, on these telecasts for our Road to Gold Youth Challenge Series, ladies are 2-0 on matches against the boys, so looking to keep that perfect record is Savannah Giroux against Nick Haugen. Nick trying to make that correction on lane 4, almost gets it all the way to the pocket.
Now playing a deep inside line on both of those attempts on that lane, and he may have to rethink his strategy a little bit because it may take 200 plus to win this game.
Yeah, just was talking to Phil Anko earlier, and he mentioned now he's got a big lead he's had for the last couple of years down here. On Tuesday and Thursday nights, second shift, the $2,000 Miller Lite Doubles League. Well, let's double that for first place in the 2016-17 season. It's going to be a $4,000 first place prize for that Miller Lite Doubles League at Castle Lanes. So if you want some information on that, check out the Castle Lanes Facebook page or go to castlanes.com or give them a call for 262-633-1199. Not just for that league opening here at Castle Lanes, but for all the league openings they have, and there really aren't many of them ever at Castle.
And Phil does a great job and definitely fills the house many a night. So is that a Tuesday or a Thursday league then?
Take your pick, Tuesday or Thursday night, and the two league winners roll off for that big $4,000 championship prize. So,
and obviously a scratch league, I would assume.
I believe it's handicapped, so
So anyone
can enter. Yes. So, yeah, it's been a pretty big league the last couple of years, and there may be a spot or two left in that league. Always good to see a support from Miller Lite with that league for Castle Lanes, and another mark. Nick's not striking, but he's not giving any pins back to Savannah either by leaving open frames.
So it's either a $4,000 first prize or lifetime supply of Miller High Life.
I don't know if you go wrong either way, let's be honest.
Oh no, you're a winner both ways. Okay, Savannah on a double.
Savannah's going to be attending Mount Mercy University in Iowa this fall, part of the bowling program. It's a couple of years old down there, and kind of a bad break not taking the 5 out.
Definitely a bad break. Got that head pin to come across, but in front of the 5 as opposed to into it. But you're right, that could have easily been a turkey.
Yeah, 2-pin kind of goes straight black, blocks the 4 from getting into the 5. Head pins goes zipping in front. And of course, nobody misses the 5-pin on TV.
And you did not black cloud her.
No, I've been pretty good with that lately, so even on the extra frame telecasts.
I mean, that is quite a bit of power to yield for one person.
It's tough to black cloud these kids.
The adults, much easier,
Yes.
it seems.
Yes, it does. Joey, I want to thank your sponsorship, bpsmilwaukee.com. Always the website to check out for what's going on at Bowlers Pro Shop. And the summer specials roll on, and you're going to have some new releases coming in very soon, aren't you?
We're going to have quite a few new releases for bowling equipment as well as shoes and bags. There's some new designs coming out for those who want to look their best. And the closeouts are running out, Phil. We had a great summer special on some of last year's top-selling balls, and they are running lower and lower in inventory. So if you still want some, now's still the time to come in.
Yeah, don't wait until like a week or two before your league starts to try to get that new bowling ball. Get in a month, 6 weeks ahead of time.
Well, yeah,
Beat the rush.
Right, and it's good to get the ball early, get used to it, try it with maybe a couple different surfaces, and we always do a free surface change on a ball purchase from us. Then you can kind of see what kind of range that ball has.
Now, one thing that's nice too, it's not just the surface adjustment you can make, but you can drill up a bowling ball and not initially drill up a weight hole in the bowling ball. So if you don't like the way it reacts, you can add a weight hole to the bowling ball and change the look of the ball, make it smooth out, make it go a little longer before it hooks.
Exactly. That's something we've been doing for years. It's called weight hole ready. Many pros do it that way as well. They pick a layout, drill it a certain way, and they wait on putting that weight hole so they can determine if they want to make that ball react earlier, later, smoother, or sharper. And we're very good at doing that with weight hole placement. I mean, it just gives bowlers the look that they envisioned they get from a certain product. And you don't want every ball with the same look.
Yep, exactly. And you've done that for me many times in the equipment I've gotten over the last few years. And always helps to have a nice range of movement in your equipment, not have every ball break the same way, just in case you hit different conditions, especially with your Flat Earth League on Monday nights. And we're still looking for a few bowlers there as well.
Still some openings, right, for our singles league, and it's a scratch league, different average categories, so you're always bowling against players near your ability.
Yeah, we've had bowlers that have averaged as low as 150 in that league, and they have a good time. They learn how to bowl in tough conditions, and then they bowl better when they get to the house patterns as well.
Right, and it is a sport league, and we do bowl on patterns similar to what the kids are bowling on today, so get ready to throw a lot of spares.
Nick
That was a
Hagen.
great shot.
Yeah, Nick finally gets a strike on the board going into the commercial break. It's a tight match here at Castle Lanes. Join us for the rest of the second semifinal after this short break. Barbier's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Bluemont Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee. Once again, we had the bowlers roll through the commercial break to stay on time. Savannah Drew up by 13 into her half of the sixth frame. Little Nosy still carries it 10 back, Joey.
High hard one, great shot. Can she get the double? Ooh, crept a little high, and again, I think we're seeing lane 3 has that early hook spot, and she avoids the split, but does make the spare.
Nick Hagen steps up, looking to start to string some strikes to get back into this match. Gets the little shaker on lane 4 for a double, and then steps up in his 8th frame on lane 3. 10 back.
And we now have a match, and I think a new leader.
Yes, we do. Hagen leading by 7 pins into Savannah Drew's half of the 8th frame. And both these bowlers showing how important spare making is in this game, especially when you have to grind out on the tough shots such as we're seeing today.
All right, neither player with it open. They're both staying clean. And Savannah pretty much controlling the pocket. Didn't like that one off her hand. And kind of came up and out of that shot a little bit. Maybe only missed by a board right.
Yeah. But once again, with the amount of oil on the front part of this lane, you get a little quick through the front. It stays quick through the back. And the 1, 2, and 8, not exactly the easiest spare to convert on this condition.
But with her accuracy and slight hook, should be no problem, as it was not.
You look at Savannah's ball roll, and mostly end over end, not a lot of side turn on it, very strong roll. You know, it just kind of reminds you of the roll of Liz Johnson. When you see Liz Johnson out on tour, she's always got that strong forward roll, gets up all the work in the pocket, doesn't cover a lot of boards, but there's a lot of titles covered by not covering a lot of boards.
Well, you look at some of the greatest of all time, you know, Walter Ray, Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, Liz Johnson, Dick Weber. They didn't really curve it a great deal.
And Savannah a little quick on that shot as well, and the 2, 5, and 8 combination.
But then again, you look at those who curve it big time, such as Belmonte, Sean Rash, and I mean, their game is a little more exciting when they throw the bigger hook and the pins dance a little bit more.
And that's trouble.
Yeah, that's trouble for any type player there. That's a very choppable spare.
And now a big lead for Hagen. And if Hagen can step up here, put marks on the board, 9th and 10th frame, he'll advance the championship match against his old high school teammate, Mitch Ortlieb.
Yeah, one here would pretty much salt it away. I think he knows the importance of this shot, taking a little extra time.
Kind of funny, Nick Hoggin's favorite pro bowler, he says Ryan Greenwood. Of course, we've seen Ryan on a few shows as a youth player over the years. Ryan just graduated from UW Whitewater. I'm sure we'll see him joining the ranks of some of our adult tournaments here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel as well. And that's pretty much match over for Hoggin. Stay behind the foul line, and he's taking this one home.
Yeah, Nick has a high series of 805, 300 games, at least as of this tournament. He may have more since.
Well, these kids getting ready for junior gold as Nick comes high and leaves the 6'10". When we tape this, they were just getting ready to go to junior gold, and most of these kids, they're going anywhere they can find that'll put out a tough lane pattern for them to bowl on, because this year at junior gold, something new. They won't even know what the patterns are until after the practice sessions are done.
Right, which is different from years past.
Where they got to see them revealed at the practice sessions. And they also can only take 5 bowling balls this year and check them in instead of the 6 they have been able to do in the past.
Right, and that one ball is huge, especially when you have an array of possibly owning 8, 9, or 10 balls. You have to whittle it down to 5. And if one of them is a spare ball, that means only 4 strike ball options.
Yeah, so you'll see if they hit some shorter patterns like they normally do at junior gold, you'll see a lot of kids using urethane, not just for their spare ball, but they'll also use it on those short patterns as well. And Nick with the shot on the area check. Doesn't matter though, his 218 is going to advance. And unfortunately for Savannah, first loss by a lady against a gentleman on our road to gold this year, but something tells me we'll see Savannah back on TV
right, and,
pretty soon.
For golfers who want to relate to that, picture a junior USGA event and they limit your clubs from 14 to say 5 clubs.
Yeah.
It means you have to get rid of one of your favorite irons or one of your woods that you typically would use. You can't take all 14.
Yeah, what if you only have instead of having a sand wedge, pitching wedge, and lob wedge around the green, what if you can only take your sand wedge?
You can take one of the 3,
yeah.
Exactly. And it does make understanding your equipment and their range of uses much more critical.
Yeah.
That helps the bowlers indirectly.
Yeah, it's a little less they have to ship, especially for those youth that might be flying from across the country. Savannah Drew puts up a second strike in the 10th frame, and
in the 190s.
Yeah, the errant shot in the 9th frame, the one that cost her.
Possible 200, my mistake.
Yeah. She gets that shot in the 9th frame back and puts a strike on the board instead. We could see Savannah in the championship match. Instead, it's going to be Nick Hoggin against Mitch Ortlieb in our championship match here from Castle Lanes and Racine. Join Joe Serrar and I back for that match after this short break. Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com. Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com. Well, bowling fans, you've waited all day for as they get the crowd riled up here. Mitch Ortlieb and Nick Hoggin. May not be the biggest crowd of the day watching this final match, but still a lot of fans here. A nice summer afternoon as these bowlers compete.
At least you're bowling against a friend as well, not just an opponent, but someone you kind of grew up with, experienced some good and bad times with.
Nick, a couple of U-Challenge Series titles under his belt. Mitch looking for his first U-Challenge Series title, and a good shot there to start off by Mitch Ortlieb.
Yeah, great opening shot, and I think each frame very, very important because both players can definitely string some strikes. And again, we are on a tough pattern, but they may have opened them up a little bit.
So $100 Visa gift card to the winner of this match. Second place, a $50 Visa gift card, plus both bowlers getting an entry into our season end Road to Gold Grand Championship. Paid entry for that as well, where they could win a $250 Visa gift card. And we have strikes all over the place this game, Joey.
Yeah, that kind of held pocket. I thought he may have been a little left of target at release, but with his forward roll he's putting on the ball doesn't change direction sharp down lane, and even though it hit probably a board or two high in the pocket, ends up with 10 down.
A great look at Nick's setup from the front, now from the side. You see those shoulders turn, release the ball through, and a good break to get the 7 out.
And again, another ball hooking early, reading the lane too early on lane 3, and you may just have to make a bigger move left, such as where Mitch is playing.
I mean, Mitch circles the ball a little bit more, obviously with the two-handed style. Allows him to start a little farther left, but we've seen Nick circle it when he has to as well. That's one thing these young players learn in college. We mentioned during the last game about a junior gold, these players only get to check 5 bowling balls in as Nick slides behind the 6-pin.
Yeah, well, if you're going to miss it, they say missing it right shows more trust in your swing than missing it left, but an open is still an open.
Yeah, junior gold, these bowlers can only check 5 bowling balls in. Most college tournaments nowadays, it's that same 5-ball limit. So these young players learn how to do things with tricking it with releases or changing surfaces on the bowling ball when they have the opportunity to. And a good toss there. And once again, that little later catch of the break point on lane 4.
A little bit later, a little longer in length, and even with the high rev, it kind of hit weak.
Now watching the replay, or watch that 6-pin just do not much of anything. That ball right through the 9-pin spot.
Right, 9 or right of the 9, which I'm sure he doesn't see as often as he does seeing it left of the 9. No problem with the spare conversion.
Now, both these young men, they learn very quick in college how much spares matter. You have a 5-man team game, or if it's a regular Baker game competition, 1 spare can make the difference, not just a single game, but a 3 or 4 or 5 game match as well.
Well, if we make another comparison to golf, is you drive for show, you putt for dough, and it's no different in bowling.
He came up over the top of that one badly and lucky to leave just the 5 and 9. You could see a little bit of disgust on Mitch's face as he comes back.
Right. So when a player is as far left as he can be with his feet, and it's still hooking early, does he send it further right, or should he just loft it, say, an extra 5 feet in the air to kind of delay that hook?
Wow, he needed to loft that one about 20 feet to delay
Right. And I don't think he expected that.
No.
So lane 3 has pretty much disappeared with oil.
So, yeah, if the bowler has the talent, lofting and hitting your mark is not always an easy thing for players to do. That takes a lot of repetition and practice. I mean, we see players on the PBA Tour like Marshall Kent now
Phenomenal at it.
that can loft and land it on a dime. Chris Prather, another good young talent. He was just part of the USBC team champions in Reno this year. Chris Prather is another bowler that can go loft 15 to 20 feet if he has to and land it on a dime. And a good shot there by Nick Hagen, taking advantage of his opponent's misfortune that frame.
Right, and with that lesser amount of hook, he's able to kind of hold pocket easier. Hard to say if either player has an advantage on this. Both quality shot makers.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the game scores from earlier. I mean, Nick 218 in his game. Mitch's opening game, 174. So you think, oh, advantage Nick just by Nick keeping his game clean during his semifinal against Savannah Giroux.
And there's that early hook on lane 3 once again. We're seeing it, so you know they're seeing it. And they're making moves, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just a matter of the confidence to commit to a big move or a possible ball change, something like that. It's just the toughest thing when it's a 1-game match on this lane.
And a big move could result in a 2-4-10, 2-4-8-10, which is almost a guaranteed open, but when you're going through the face, I mean, you're flirting with danger right there. So, and he makes that one.
Yeah, a little practice, knows he wasn't going to slide behind it for the 2nd time in a row. Hagen currently leading by 2 pins. As they have a little friendly discussion at the ball return prior to Mitch stepping up in his part of the 4th frame.
Mitch wants to say hi and thanks to all of his family members, especially Freddie Peterson, good friend, Molly Brandos, and Mr. Greenwood, we mentioned earlier.
Freddie and Molly hanging in the crowd here today, cheering Mitch on. A couple of our bowlers on the Youth Challenge Series, both going to be attending Robert Morris University in Chicago in the fall for Freddie and Molly, and Molly's sister Maddie as well, another very talented young lady.
Yes, their father, Dave Brandos, was in here a couple weeks ago visiting and telling us about his daughters, bragging about them a little bit, which he has the right to do.
Absolutely. Anytime you can get your young player, male, female, into a college bowling program on scholarship, it's a good thing to do. But hey, UW-Whitewater, they don't have scholarships. It's a club program, and they still have a very quality program. For the guys, it's a club program. For the ladies, it's the Division III NCAA program.
And I'm sporting the Warhawk t-shirt back in Nick Crummell days, a couple of years back.
Yes, indeed. Nick recently graduated from Whitewater. I'm sure we may even see him a little bit on the PBA Regional Tour in the near future. One of the best players in the Midwest right now, you'd have to say, with Nick Crummell.
Nick Crummell kind of reminds me a little bit, not of Matt Zager, but who did you mention earlier on the PBA Tour with the loft?
Oh, Marshall Kent.
Marshall Kent.
Yep.
Same kind of game, same kind of build, great loft, good direction, high rev rate. Modern day power game.
No problem for Mitch Earleap on that spare to cover up his shot. Unfortunately for Mitch, no $25 high five gear gift certificate. One last chance to give one away today for Nick Hagen. We can't go 0 for the day, Joey. It's impossible. We haven't done that so far this entire telecast season on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
We can, but we don't want to.
Nick's sporting his high five gear jersey right now. That's got a chance to carry.
That's high flush.
Ka-ching! $25. Good for any high five gear apparel. I want to thank Todd Molbeck and all the staff at High Five Gear, the best jerseys in the business, and not just for bowling as well. For golf, they've got some great golf apparel as well. You can check them out at highfivegear.com.
Yeah, I visited their website the other day, in fact, and the array is amazing.
Yes.
Color schemes matching, shirts, pants, skirts for the girls, or some guys.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for Nick right there, the 2-4-5 leering his ugly head. Nick was really hoping to get a double on the board there.
Well, 2-4-5 is still close to the pocket, and this lane we know is difficult. And we see it, how difficult it is. He went hard and straight, didn't chop it, but just kind of missed it light.
And with that open, Mitch Ortlieb leads by 9 pins as we get into the last part of this game. Join us back from Castle Lanes after this short break. Heck of a championship battle coming from Castle Lanes, the 2016 Castle Lanes Challenge. Mitch Ortlieb stepping up in his half of the 6th frame, up by 9 pins, Joey.
Anybody's game yet. Big shot here, comes around it strong, makes the turn, rips the rack. That's a thing of beauty right there.
That is fun to watch. When you watch the pins part like Moses with the Red Sea. The 5 goes into the 7, everything on the right side of the rack stays on the right side. That's a gorgeous shot.
Yeah, and if that 10 would have been standing, that Messenger would have easily got it. And this might be a typo on Mitch's bio sheet here. High series of 727. That should say 827.
It could be. We'll have to check with him after the match is done.
Throws too much ball for only a high of 727, as he almost carries the light Brooklyn.
And once again, the amount of hook on lane 3 compared to lane 4 is kind of messing with the players' heads a little bit, but just need to stay clean. If you get a double, even if it's on a break on a crossover, take that parlay, as our friend Jason Couch likes to call it, and take advantage of it and help it have you make a few pennies.
All right, and we saw that lane going away earlier in our first match, little by little, and then all of a sudden, when it's gone, the oil is gone.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of people may not see on league patterns. because of the big tongue of oil up the middle.
Sure.
They may see it dissipate off the outside 5 or 6 boards because of how little is out there, but you really don't see it disappear in the middle part of the lane.
Right, but when it disappears in the middle part of the lane, the pattern gets quite a bit more challenging.
Yes. Nick Hagen stepping up, 7th frame, looking to get some strikes on the board to get back in the match.
Yeah, that was a great shot off the hand. Great forward roll. Coming down to crunch time here,
Yeah.
Phil.
Boy, he carries that 2-4-5 out in the 6th frame instead of leaving the open. When he missed the 2-4-5 combo. He'd have the lead in this match and have a chance to extend it now.
Right, and the 2-4-5 is a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch from a strike. His spare that he missed was probably a 1/4 of an inch off. And again, this is a 1/4 of an inch at 60-some feet from the foul line. Big double, rips the rack himself.
And with that, he gets himself in the lead by a single pin over Mitch Ortlieb with 2.5 frames remaining. And they may be friends off the lanes, but they're trying to take that $100 Visa gift card away from the other player, no doubt about that. It's a little gas money for the summer for these young.
Right, and they'll still remain friends, even though they may trash talk a little. He had a strike last time on this lane and hits it even better this next time.
Well, the interesting part right now is that Mitch had lane choice going into this game as the higher qualifier. Mitch chose to finish on lane 4, and with the number of strikes the bowlers are throwing on lane 4 as compared to lane 3, you have to say right now, if Mitch strikes here, advantage Mitch.
Well, without question, but you never know. Lane 3 is so difficult, you could get a lucky one. But you can't bank on luck.
Out to the right. What a great adjustment by Mitch on that shot.
That was a huge shot. Stayed low, firmed up, might have inched in just a little bit deeper into the pattern. Did not allow that ball to read early.
Ortlieb takes the lead by 9, but Hagen, if he can strike here on lane 4, they take the lead by a
Takes the
single
lead
pin.
right back again, and a little seesaw match going on here.
You don't need 250, 240 to have an exciting match here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel, and that needs some help and a huge break on the
Yeah,
crossover.
and he did not like that off his hand. And even though he's happy he carried, he's not happy of the way he carried.
Once again, a quick thanks to the Wagner family at Trophy Athletic, all the help they give with our awards throughout the year here, to our bowlers on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel, especially our high school events.
So
Yeah.
can he lock him out?
He can lock him out here. 3 strikes is a lockout.
Tough lane.
Gives him 216 if he strikes out.
And that looked very good off his hand, but not good at 50 feet.
Another 6-10 combination for Hagen. That's the 3rd time on 5 shots this game on lane 3, and it just the front
Right.
part of the lane moving so early, it's tough for these players to adjust.
All right, and the other two were the 2-4-5 and the lone strike.
Well, a mark and count here is important because if he goes spare strike, that's 194. That would force
Ooh,
Mitch Ortlieb to mark in the 10th frame.
just caught that on the outside, but either way works. So with a strike here, he would have 194.
194 with a strike. If Ortlieb were to go 9 miss, it would be 193.
Gotcha.
Count here is huge.
So will he move deeper and risk leaving a bucket?
Wow, that one
And that
never
never had a
tried.
chance. So there, he may have hit some out of bounds out there. He's probably just glad this game is over.
Well-
or at least lane 3 is over.
Lane 3 is over, and unfortunately, right now for Nick, his effort done. It's not up to him. Mitch Ortlieb, 9 count on the first ball is a winner.
But we could have a tie.
Could also have a tie.
I wouldn't want to be on lane 3 if I was in the tie match.
Well, if there is a tie, it's a single ball roll off, and Mitch Ortlieb would have lane choice for that first round of the roll off, but they would switch to the other lane the second round.
Okay, big shot here. He knows the strike salts it away. Even a 9 spare. And he'll take that mixer.
And that's where you want to be. That's how you prove your mettle as you improve as a champion. You have the ball in hand, you have to strike to win, and he just throws it almost perfect for that winning strike.
It's kind of like making the winning free throw, hitting that winning 8-foot putt. That's why you practice hours and hours and days in your younger years to be able to handle a situation like this on this scale. Because before you can win a PBA event, you have to be able to control it and win at this level.
Exactly, and Mitch Orlieb is going to wrap up his first Youth Challenge Series title. You see the hug between friends once this is done. $100 Visa gift card also going in Mitch's back pocket, and an entry into our closing Road to Gold Summer Swing Championship from Sunset Bowl later this summer. Joey, thanks again for sitting with me here at Castle Lanes. We're going to be back to wrap this show up after the show break. Make sure you stay tuned. Why do we have so many of our televised tournaments at Castle Lanes? Because we love being part of the wild side of bowling. If you're ready to get in touch with your wild side, go to castlelanes.com.
Live, on demand, worldwide, Extra Frame is always on. It's the online bowling channel. Watch live qualifying rounds and match play from every PBA Tour stop and every PBA 50 Tour event on your big screen, PC, mobile phone, or tablet. Archived nationally televised shows and content is available 24/7. Extra Frame is always on. Subscribe now at www.extraframe.tv.
Well, Joey, as we mentioned at the top of the show, scoring pace was going to be low. It was pretty good the last game. Bowlers are making their spares between Nick Hagen and Mitch Ortlieb. But lane 3, wow, did that lane turn tough early on the TV show today. And by the time I got to the end of the final game, Mitch Ortlieb just solved the riddle in time.
Right. It could have been anyone's match. I mean, it went seesaw back and forth, different leaders each frame, but he made the big shot when he needed to.
Another tournament in the books, this time with a first-time titleist with Mitch Ortlieb here at Castle Lanes. Another great Youth Challenge Series Road to Gold event coming up. Our friends the Catanias at Motion Plus Lanes in Cudahy hosting their event. And once again, another $100 Visa gift card will be on the line for the winner. So for my friend Joe Serrar at Bowlers Pro Shop, Joe, great summer specials still going on at the shop.
As always, on balls, bags, shoes. I mean, last year's styles can still be used the following year. And again, but we got the new stuff coming in as well, probably mid-August.
So check out Bowlers Pro Shop or bpsmilwaukee.com for all the deals online. For Joey, I'm Phil Bridlow. Parents, take the kids bowling because they'll have fun for life. And we'll see you on the next show coming to you from Motion Plus Lanes in Cudahy.